With the U.S. distracted in the Middle East, and despite Trump's bluster about a new trade war with China, does China really have anything to worry about? Let's get to the bottom line.
For years, Donald Trump's tariffs against China were seen as a bold move to curb Beijing's dominance and bring manufacturing back to American soil. Promises of economic revival and trade justice rallied millions. But beneath the surface, a different story has unfolded. From skyrocketing costs for U.S. businesses to retaliatory measures by China reshaping global markets, the unintended consequences are becoming impossible to ignore. Have these tariffs backfired on the very economy they aim to protect? Or is this just the beginning of a deeper shift in global trade dynamics? Let's uncover the surprising fallout of the U.S.-China trade war and explore how these policies reshape the global economic landscape in ways few saw coming. Chapter 1. The origins of the U.S.-China trade war. So what were the origins of a trade war that reshaped global economic dynamics? In 2018, President Donald Trump initiated a series of tariffs against China, aiming to address the substantial trade deficit and perceived unfair trade practices that disadvantage U.S. industries. The administration's objectives were ambitious: reduce the trade deficit, repatriate manufacturing jobs, and exert pressure on China to reform its economic policies. The tariffs targeted a wide array of Chinese goods, including steel, aluminum, electronics, and consumer products, with rates ranging from 10% to 25%. For instance, the Consumer Technology Association reported that these tariffs could increase smartphone prices by $213 to $305, and laptops by $357 to $540, due to the heavy reliance on Chinese manufacturing. China responded promptly with countermeasures, imposing tariffs on American exports such as agricultural products, automobiles, and industrial goods. This retaliation aimed to exert pressure on U.S. industries and regions supportive of Trump, thereby influencing domestic political dynamics. The escalating trade tensions led to major disruptions in global supply chains, affecting businesses and consumers worldwide. Notably, the U.S. trade deficit with China continued to grow, reaching $822 billion in 2023, up from $420 billion in 2017, indicating that the tariffs did not achieve the intended reduction. Politically, the Trump administration framed the tariffs as a necessary stance against China's economic aggression, portraying them as leverage to secure better trade terms and protect American workers. However, the economic repercussions, including increased costs for consumers and businesses, sparked debates about the efficacy of such measures. A Reuters Ipsos poll from December 2024 revealed that only 29% of Americans supported higher tariffs if they led to increased prices, while 42% opposed them, reflecting public skepticism about the benefits of the trade war. As the trade war persisted, both nations employed various strategies to mitigate the impact. China sought to diversify its trade partnerships and reduce dependence on U.S. markets, while the U.S. explored alternative supply chains and negotiated trade agreements with other countries. Despite these efforts, the complex economic interdependence between the two superpowers made disentanglement challenging, leading to ongoing economic and political ramifications that continue to influence global trade dynamics. Chapter 2. The economic fallout for the United States. The imposition of tariffs on Chinese imports by the United States has had huge and far-reaching effects on various sectors of the American economy. In the agricultural sector, American farmers have faced significant challenges due to reduced access to Chinese markets. China, once a major importer of U.S. agricultural products, imposed retaliatory tariffs on commodities such as soybeans, corn, and pork. This led to a surplus of these goods domestically, causing prices to plummet and squeezing farmers' profit margins. For instance, soybean exports to China dropped by over 70% in 2024, resulting in a $3.1 billion loss for American farmers. In the manufacturing sector, the tariffs have led to increased costs for raw materials, particularly steel and aluminum, which are essential inputs for a wide range of products. The elevated costs have squeezed profit margins and forced companies to either absorb the expenses or pass them on to consumers. A study by the Federal Reserve estimated that the tariffs resulted in a 1.3% reduction in U.S. GDP, with manufacturing industries bearing a significant portion of this decline. Retailers and consumers have not been spared from the impact of these tariffs either. The increased import costs have translated into higher prices for a wide array of consumer goods, from electronics to clothing. The Consumer Technology Association reported that the average price for laptops could rise by $357 to $540, and smartphones by $213 to $305, due to the heavy reliance on Chinese manufacturing. The broader economic indicators reflect these sectoral challenges. The U.S. trade deficit with China, which the tariffs aim to reduce, has not seen the anticipated decline. Certain states and sectors have suffered disproportionately from these economic shifts. Agricultural states like Iowa and Illinois have experienced significant economic downturns due to the loss of Chinese markets for their crops. Similarly, manufacturing hubs in the Midwest have faced factory closures and layoffs as companies struggle with increased production costs. For example, the Midwestern manufacturing sector saw a 2% decline in employment in 2024, correlating with the escalation of tariff measures. The strain of these economic pressures has led some companies to file for bankruptcy or relocate production to avoid tariff costs. Notably, several U.S. solar companies, despite receiving substantial subsidies, have faced financial insolvency due to the increased costs of imported components from China. In May 2024, President Joe Biden doubled the import tax on Chinese solar cells from 25% to 50%, accusing China of dumping the excess products on the markets at unfairly low prices. With years of protective tariffs and subsidies in place, U.S. solar companies enjoy their predatory sales across the American market. In response to the tariffs, some companies have considered relocating production to other countries to mitigate the financial impact. For instance, Signify, a leading lighting manufacturer, has indicated plans to move some of its production out of China to avoid the increased tariffs, aiming to maintain competitive pricing in the U.S. market. The tariffs imposed on Chinese imports have therefore had a cascading effect across the U.S. economy, impacting agriculture, manufacturing, and consumer goods sectors. The anticipated benefits of reducing the trade deficit and revitalizing domestic industries have not materialized as expected. Instead, the tariffs have introduced new challenges, leading to economic disruptions and strategic shifts by companies seeking to navigate the complex trade landscape. Chapter 3: China's Counter-Strategies and Long-Term Adaptations. In response to escalating trade tensions and tariffs imposed by the United States, China has strategically diversified its trade partnerships to mitigate economic pressures and enhance its global influence. A major aspect of this strategy is the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, launched in 2013, which has significantly expanded China's economic reach. By 2023, Chinese firms had engaged in contracts worth up to $1 trillion in infrastructure investments worldwide, particularly in low- and middle-income countries across Africa and Asia. In Southeast Asia, China's economic and trade cooperation has accelerated notably. In 2023, China's direct investment in ASEAN countries reached $25.12 billion, marking a 34.7% year-on-year increase. This surge indicates China's commitment to strengthening economic ties within the region. At the same time, China has pursued self-sufficiency in critical industries, notably semiconductors and renewable energy. Facing U.S. export restrictions on advanced chips, China has intensified efforts to develop its domestic semiconductor industry. By 2024, Chinese wafer fabrication plants achieved self-sufficiency in 22/28 nanometers and older process technologies, with projections to capture nearly 40% of the mature process market by 2030. But that's not all. In the renewable energy sector, China's investments have yielded substantial advancements. In 2023, China invested $890 billion in green technologies, solidifying its position as a global leader in renewable energy capacity. This leadership is evident in China's dominance in the production of wind turbines, solar panels, electric vehicles, and lithium-ion batteries. Chinese companies have demonstrated resilience and growth despite U.S. sanctions. Huawei, for instance, has made significant strides in the tech industry. In 2024, Chinese firms like Alibaba, Tencent, and DeepSeek released AI models rivaling or surpassing their American counterparts, showcasing China's advancements in artificial intelligence. The trade war has also prompted China to strengthen its economy and global standing. By investing in infrastructure projects through the BRI and enhancing connectivity with regions like Southeast Asia, China has diversified its trade routes and reduced reliance on Western markets. Additionally, China's focus on self-sufficiency in semiconductors and renewable energy has lessened its vulnerability to external pressures. These strategic adaptations have not only mitigated the impact of U.S. tariffs, but have also positioned China as a more self-reliant and influential player in the global economy. These strategies have enabled China to navigate the challenges posed by the trade war and emerge with an enhanced role in the global economic landscape. Chapter 4. Unintended consequences on the global supply chain. However, the trade war's consequences extended far beyond China, disrupting the very fabric of global trade. The imposition of tariffs between the United States and China has led to significant disruptions in global supply chains, particularly in critical sectors such as semiconductors, rare earth minerals, and consumer electronics. These measures have compelled multinational companies to reassess and realign their production and sourcing strategies to mitigate the impact of increased costs and maintain operational efficiency. In the semiconductor industry, the U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports have prompted companies to diversify their supply chains. For instance, Malaysia has experienced a surge in Chinese investments, especially from chip makers seeking to circumvent anticipated U.S. tariffs. In 2024, Malaysia attracted billions in investments from Chinese tech firms, positioning itself as a key player in the global semiconductor supply chain. Similarly, the consumer electronics sector has faced challenges due to the tariffs. The Consumer Technology Association reported that proposed tariffs could increase the average price of smartphones by $213 to $305, and laptops by $357 to $540, affecting both manufacturers and consumers. But it doesn't end there. The automotive industry has also been impacted, with global auto suppliers strategizing to shift production closer to or within the United States in light of proposed tariffs. Companies like Bosch, Continental, and Honda are contemplating relocating production to mitigate tariff impacts. These shifts have led to the rise of alternative suppliers and markets, as companies seek to bypass the U.S.-China trade tensions. Countries like Vietnam, Thailand, and India have emerged as attractive destinations for manufacturing relocation. For example, Sony moved its smartphone production to Thailand in an effort to cut costs and mitigate the impact of tariffs. Allied nations have found themselves caught in the crossfire of these trade tensions, leading to strained relationships and economic challenges. The European Union, for instance, has had to navigate the complexities of aligning with U.S. policies while managing its trade relations with China. The imposition of tariffs has forced EU countries to reassess their positions, balancing political alliances with economic interests. Multinational companies have been proactive in pivoting their operations to avoid the detrimental effects of tariffs. IBM, for example, closed 2 research divisions in China, affecting over 1,000 employees amid growing U.S.-China tensions. This move aligns with a broader trend of tech companies retreating from China due to political strains and espionage fears. Additionally, Panasonic Energy, a supplier for Tesla, is prioritizing the reduction of its reliance on China for the supply chain of its electric vehicle batteries manufactured in the U.S. This decision aligns with the anticipated trade policies of President Donald Trump, who plans to enforce tariffs of up to 60% on Chinese imports. Panasonic Energy is maximizing its American supply chain by engaging U.S. suppliers and supporting Japanese and Korean suppliers to establish operations in the U.S. But these strategic relocations are not without challenges. Companies face increased production costs, logistical complexities, and the task of establishing new supplier relationships. However, the imperative to maintain market competitiveness and circumvent tariff-induced expenses has driven these significant operational shifts. Chapter 5. Why tariffs failed to achieve their goals. But while companies adapted, the effectiveness of the tariffs in meeting their objectives is debatable. The imposition of tariffs aimed at reducing the U.S. trade deficit with China has not yielded the intended results. In 2023, the trade deficit stood at approximately $279.4 billion, reflecting a persistent imbalance. Instead of reshoring manufacturing to the United States, companies have redirected operations to other low-cost countries. Vietnam, for instance, has seen a significant increase in its trade surplus with the U.S., exceeding $110 billion in the first 11 months of 2024. Mexico has also emerged as a preferred destination for manufacturing relocation. In 2023, U.S. imports of manufactured goods from Mexico surpassed those from China, with Mexico exporting $473 billion worth of goods compared to China's $421 billion. This shift has led to higher costs for businesses and consumers. Relocating production involves significant expenses, including establishing new facilities and supply chains. These costs are often passed on to consumers, resulting in increased prices for goods. Moreover, the diminished competitiveness of U.S. products abroad has been a consequence of these tariffs. Higher production costs make American goods less attractive in the global market, potentially leading to a decline in export volumes. Politically, there has been an over-reliance on tariffs as a tool to address complex economic relationships. The expectation that tariffs alone could rectify trade imbalances and bring back manufacturing jobs oversimplifies the multifaceted nature of global trade dynamics. Hence, a more nuanced approach is necessary to effectively address these economic challenges. Chapter 6. The broader geopolitical implications. The trade war between the United States and China has profoundly reshaped their bilateral relationship, escalating tensions across technology, military, and diplomatic spheres. In the technological arena, both nations have intensified their competition, with the U.S. implementing measures to restrict China's access to advanced technologies, particularly in semiconductors and artificial intelligence. This has prompted China to accelerate its efforts toward technological self-reliance, investing heavily in domestic innovation and research. Militarily, China's assertiveness has grown markedly. Since the 2024 U.S. presidential election, China has showcased significant military advancements, including large-scale exercises near Taiwan and the unveiling of next-generation military capabilities. These actions are perceived as strategic moves to assert dominance in the Asia-Pacific region and to challenge U.S. influence. Diplomatically, China has been expanding its influence, particularly among Global South nations. Through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative and the formation of the Global South Think Tanks Alliance, China positions itself as a leader and advocate for developing countries, promoting a multipolar world order that challenges traditional Western dominance. A critical aspect of this geopolitical rivalry is the strategic significance of rare earth minerals and microchips. China's control over a substantial portion of the global supply of rare earth elements, essential for various high-tech industries, has been leveraged as a geopolitical tool. The U.S., recognizing this dependency, has been seeking alternative sources and investing in domestic production to mitigate potential supply chain vulnerabilities. China's growing influence in the Global South is evident through its active engagement in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. By providing financial assistance, infrastructure development, and diplomatic support, China has strengthened alliances with non-Western countries, thereby expanding its geopolitical reach and creating a network of partnerships that bolster its global standing. Conversely, the United States has experienced a weakening of its credibility and economic leadership on the international stage. The trade war, characterized by tariff escalations and economic sanctions, has led to strained relationships with traditional allies and trading partners. Additionally, the perception of unpredictability in U.S. foreign policy has caused some nations to question the reliability of the U.S. as a global leader. The result of these developments points toward a shift to a more multipolar world order driven by trade and technology rivalries. The binary dominance of the U.S. and its Western allies is increasingly challenged by the rise of China and its strategic partnerships across the Global South. This transition suggests a future where multiple centers of power coexist, each wielding significant influence over global affairs. Chapter 7. Lessons for the future. But the question remains, how can the U.S. turn these challenges into opportunities for growth? The trade war between the United States and China depicts the limitations of protectionist policies in an increasingly interconnected global economy. Despite the imposition of tariffs aimed at reducing trade imbalances and protecting domestic industries, the U.S. goods trade deficit averaged $1.1 trillion in 2022 to 2023, with deficits widening with countries other than China. This shift indicates that while tariffs may alter trade patterns, they do not necessarily achieve the intended economic benefits. In response to these challenges, there has been a growing recognition of the importance of investing in innovation and infrastructure to enhance competitiveness. For instance, The Biden administration has allocated over $3 billion to boost domestic production of advanced batteries and materials for electric vehicles, aiming to reduce reliance on Chinese imports and strengthen the U.S. position in the clean energy sector. Such investments are crucial for building a resilient economy capable of thriving in the face of global competition. Moreover, the complexities of the U.S.-China economic relationship highlight the need for a balanced approach that combines diplomacy, economic strategy, and collaboration with allies. Engaging with international partners can lead to more effective and sustainable outcomes than unilateral actions. For example, coordinated efforts with allies have been instrumental in addressing shared concerns about China's trade practices and in promoting fair competition. Exploring alternative paths forward, the United States can rebuild its economy without relying on aggressive tariffs. Focusing on domestic innovation, workforce development, and infrastructure improvements can enhance productivity and create high-quality jobs. Additionally, fostering an open trade environment that encourages competition can lead to better products and services for consumers. For instance, investments in AI infrastructure, such as the $30 billion fund introduced by Microsoft and BlackRock, aim to enhance American competitiveness in AI by developing and expanding data centers and energy infrastructure in the United States. Looking at successful trade strategies used by other nations provides valuable insights. Germany, for example, has maintained a strong manufacturing sector by focusing on high-quality exports and investing in vocational training. Similarly, South Korea's emphasis on technology and innovation has transformed it into a leading exporter of electronics. These examples demonstrate that strategic investments in education, technology, and infrastructure can yield significant economic benefit without resorting to protectionist measures. And so, with the help of a balanced approach that combines diplomacy, economic strategy, and collaboration with allies, is more likely to yield sustainable and effective outcomes, making the United States capable of navigating economic rivalries and build a strong economy for the future. From the far-reaching impacts of tariffs to the evolving dynamics of global power, the U.S.-China trade war illustrates how interconnected our world truly is. These insights reveal the complexities of economic policies and their ripple effects on industries, nations, and everyday lives. Which aspect of this trade war surprised you the most? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if this video intrigued you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking explorations.